This is verse 11 of the 7th chapter, Gospel of Matthew. Jesus continuing his discussion concerning how we should feel free to ask our Heavenly Father for the things that we are aware of, the things we need. This is all more or less an extension of his conversation about refraining from judging our brother while we have a big log stuck in our own eye, of course, using that extravagant hyperbole to drive home the point that if we're going to try to offer counsel to someone around us, that we should be loaded with wisdom. And of course that leads to this idea that we should ask of God, the only true source of wisdom. And he indicates to us that God is receptive to these requests, noting now by means of a human parallel the following. He says, if takes the indicative, usually reflects a situation that actually exists. So if postpositive un, therefore, humeis, second person nominative plural pronoun. So if you, and the humeis being present there is intended to give it a little bit of emphasis. So you, if you, as opposed to God in this case. Poneroi, evil, also nominative, because it standing in a sense as a predicate nominative with humeis, you, evil, being, ontes, from eimi, I am, present participle in the nominative plural. So if you being evil as you are, of course that's the universal biblical assessment of the human heart, that there's radical corruption there, and that of course would normally create a penchant for self-centeredness. And so Jesus is making the point, rather astonishingly you might say, that if we even as evil people, oidata, from edo, I know, second person plural, this is the perfect active indicative, so if you knew and continue to know. Domata, this is derived distantly from didomi, to give. It's a little bit more of a sort of a generic word for giving. It isn't necessarily the pure gift of doron, something like that in the New Testament, but it does have to do with giving in a general sense. If you know how to give gifts, agatha, good gifts, didonai, this is an infinitive. This is a present active infinitive. So if you know how to give good gifts, tois, this is the dative plural, neuter article with teknois, which is of course a neuter noun, children, humon, the children of you. So basically this initial clause, if you know how, being an evil person, by nature more or less self-obsessed, nevertheless can give good gifts, generally speaking, to those who are your children. Poso is a interrogative pronoun. It means how much. And malon, this is a adverb that means more. So how much more? You notice it's in the dative because it's going along with the dative that comes a little later in the sentence here. To those who ask him. So how much more to those who ask him? This is really sort of intended to clarify the connection there with the dative, to those who ask him. How much more to those people? In other words, the idea is ho pater humon, the father of you, the genitive plural second person pronoun. How much more the father of you, then in apposition to it, ho in tois orinos, the in the heavens one. So how much more the father of you, the in the heavens one. Dose, again from didomi, this is the future, third person singular future active indicative, will give. Agatha, notice now the word domata is missing, so it's simply the neuter plural, will give good things. How much more to those who ask him will the Father give good things? Probably intending not to make the gift abstracted from the one who's giving it. That the good things in our life are constantly an expression of the fact that God is there providing these things for us, and that should be borne in mind. But the general idea, of course, is that if we, impaired as we are by our sinful condition, can nevertheless do good things for each other, especially those we love, Our Father, who is not impaired by such a condition, can be much more expected to do good things, and that becomes all the more reason, the incentive to come to Him frequently, casting our cares upon Him, seeking the things that we need, because it is the Father's disposition to do good things for those who ask Him.